Hey y'all, it's Bart. Welcome to another episode of Soccer for Us down here. It has been a couple of days of travel and exploring a new city. I am now in Sydney, Australia, after watching the US complete their group stage in the 2023 Women's World Cup, and we have plenty of talking points coming from this US Portugal nil-nil draw to finish Group E. Obviously, the US advances, but only in second place after losing out on the group to Netherlands. The U.S. finishes on 5 points, a +3 goal differential, not bad. But excuse me, a +4 goal differential, not bad. But unfortunately, when it came time to put the pressure on the better teams in the group, just simply unable to do so, and really unable to create continuous momentum throughout the match, either match. Specifically, in this game against Portugal, where it seemed like the U.S. in the first half created some decent chances, but really struggled to create cohesive and competent attacks through build-up play and relied solely on individual talent, turnovers from Portugal, and a bit of luck. But unfortunately, not enough luck to end up putting the ball in the back of the net. I just wanted to kind of run through my day, through the USA Portugal match day that I experienced, because honestly, I think this is the problem that I'm having with people who are so upset with the way the team is playing. Is I'm having a complete blast enjoying the party that is the Women's World Cup. And, the day leading up to it was fun. I flew from Wellington to Auckland, which is only about an hour flight. Um, got to hang out with friends, pregame with friends, march into the stadium with friends, and, sat with friends the whole game. That part was the unfortunate and frustrating part because the rest of it has just been a blast. And I think it's really unfortunate that I've seen 22 goals scored here in this Women's World Cup. I've seen 22 goals scored live in person, and only one of those has been from the United States. And that is just quite frankly sad. This U.S. team has way too many attacking talents to have this little firepower, or this little production, I should say. And, while we are keeping teams at bay and doing a pretty good job of reducing the amount of chances our opposition gets, we are equally inept when it comes to creating our own quality chances. It was really cool to be a part of what was then the largest crowd to watch a women's soccer game in the history of New Zealand. It broke the record from the opening match, New Zealand versus Norway, and then was actually broken today. As I'm recording this on Saturday, it was broken by the Spain-Switzerland round of 16 match there at Eden Park in Auckland. A really cool stadium. You can tell how old it is. It's in the middle of a neighborhood, but it's been modernized pretty well. Really large concourses. Lighting was great. The only kind of downside was that the video board was only really on one side. The other side was a video board that just kind of showed the gameplay. No, ads. We didn't know what time of the match it was because we couldn't see that unless we turned around. The other thing was that you can really tell that it's built for cricket. It's very large, very wide, very long. So from a soccer perspective, you're not as close to the field as you would like to be. But you can still see everything very well. You're still close enough to the action to feel like you're a part of it. It's just a little more removed than you would like. But that's, again, because it's also built for cricket and rugby. It's right in the smack dab in the middle of a neighborhood, which kind of makes it feel much cooler and very European vibe. The stadium, again, it's pretty old. It's been modernized, updated, renovated. They're about to make some even larger and grander renovations to it. And I think it'll increase the capacity, but just kind of bring it to a more modern level. It won't feel as disconnected as I think it kind of does now. It's very asymmetrical on either grandstand side, and the stands behind each goal are kind of not very well connected to the rest of the stadium from a standpoint of looking at it from the seating. Um, Also, the seat numbering is really stupid. I was in the first level, but in a 300 section. It made no sense. The 100s were technically on like an upper level. It was so weird. Um, but the stadium itself was really cool, very large. It felt like a stadium worth hosting a World Cup because it was just kind of older, felt important, and it was pretty big. Um, Also, got to say props to Auckland for organizing its public transit trains to get people out quicker. Um, it was going a little slowly, and it seemed like on the fly they kind of made the adjustment to add another train. They added one they brought one in from somewhere else to the platform and kind of double tracked into the city, so we were able to get out of there a little bit quicker. So thanks to Auckland for doing that. But unfortunately, like I said, the game was just quite honestly ugly. We looked lost, confused, didn't know how we really got anything created. We didn't look like we knew how to soccer for most of it. Um, it was a frustrating one to watch. I'm sure it was frustrating for the players to play because, Portugal definitely did a lot of things to prevent us from truly opening up our attack, but we also were very good at stopping ourselves from taking just minor things to open up the Portuguese defense. We rarely switched the ball from left to right. You can see also from the passing network and the heat maps and everything. Um, our left side of the field was utilized incredibly too much. I mean, Sophia Smith, Crystal Dunn, with a lot of touches and a lot of work that really didn't go anywhere. Conversely, Portugal attacked down their right side, our left side, a lot, and you could see Jessica Silva was kind of going after Crystal Dunn a lot. Sullivan had to help a lot. Gurma had to help a lot. So Portugal was definitely doing things that inhibited our ability to be a connected attacking team, but the fact that we were struggling to connect passes, build a series of passes, wasn't necessarily Portugal's fault. Again, you saw this team failing to be close enough to provide options to pass to for the player with the ball. There wasn't a whole lot of off-the-ball movement for runs, except for Lynn Williams, but we never then would cross the ball to her, or switch the ball to her, I should say. The couple times that we did try to switch the ball to Emily Fox specifically, she was like not fully ready to receive it and kind of let it go out of play, or went too far to the sideline, and therefore we weren't really able to utilize the space we created and the imbalance we created to capitalize on that open space in their attacking half. It was just so discombobulated and scattered for the U.S. And again, this is just the problem we have with Vlatko Anganovsky's tactical setup for this team, is that it's both a problem tactically, but also from a player personnel. You could just see the passing network basically exclude our right side, which means we're not trying to look for those switches, or we're not trying to just quickly pass out of pressure. Andy Sullivan was not very connected to the rest of her team. Again, you could see from the passing network that she was very, she wasn't really connected to anyone. She didn't have a line from her to any of her teammates for passes, for anything. And when your holding midfielder is not connecting back to front, and even connecting with her fellow midfielders, that's going to put a strain on your ability to build attacking phases of play, and you could just see that the whole game. We still, though, created chances, and I think that's where I just keep coming back to. This team is talented enough to create, some attacking chances, some chances in front of goal. In fact, you look at Lynn Williams in the first half had two chances to score. One was, I think, saved. The other one she puts over the bar. And that's also indicative of the other problem this team is having right now. So we're doing all this work to possibly just get us, chances in front of goal. And then when we do get them, we do not finish them. We don't take them well. We don't take our time to put the ball not at the goalkeeper, or it's going wide, or it's going high. And so while we're creating a lot of chances, we still are. I promise you we are. They're not high quality. And then we're not taking care of those chances that we create. I think the problem that I just keep running into is that this team has the talent, but we are not tactically set up to maximize that talent and to press our advantage against the other team. Other teams way too easily are able to play their desired method against us. And too easily they're able to disorganize our attacking schemes. We're lucky that we are, from a defensive standpoint, minus like the last 10 minutes of that game against Portugal, we're able to control them. I mean, Portugal had attacking moments. They have some pretty talented attackers, but overall they were also relying on some individual brilliance. Now, that individual brilliance was oftentimes connected together to create their chances, but even then, the amount of opportunities they had were minimal, and the U.S., again, was trying to do a lot of things. Some things worked, some things didn't. Eventually, we did get into the box, and eventually we were able to create scoring opportunities, but nothing came from it. Portugal outpossessed us, yet we took 17 shots. And so that's just what I'm saying, is that like we're taking a lot of chances, we're putting ourselves in front of goal. But at the end of the day, 17 shots, 6 on target, and 1 blocked. So either we're not taking advantage of the chances we create, which is true, or we're not creating enough quality chances, so we're shooting the ball, but from not great angles, or they're kind of hopeful, which is also true. So it's kind of a double-edged sword right now, where the quality chances we're creating, which kind of are minimal, but according to several places, we created about 4 big chances, if you will, and created almost 2.7 xG in this match. So again, the goal scoring opportunities, the very good goal scoring opportunities, were there. The problem is that there's not enough of them, because when you get 17 shots, that 2.65, I think, expected goals really isn't a good number when you look at XG per shot. And so while we're taking a lot of shots, we're creating a lot of shooting opportunities, they're just not good quality. And then when we do get the really good quality ones, we are not converting. And that's hurting this team right now. What I'm seeing is I think this team is not really converting on the open chances they get, because they've spent so much energy everywhere else on the field in a very uncoordinated and undirected way. You see a lot of girls running all over the field. We see a lot of attackers trying to press high, but no one else is coming with them, or they're pressing, but it's not really a good defensive approach to pressing, so they get beaten easily, and then other girls are having to make up for that player that just got beaten. And so we're expending so much energy all over the field that when we finally do get the ball in attacking areas, we're frantic and we don't have the composure, because nothing else about this game is composed or controlled. And that's the big issue that Vlatko is facing right now, is he has not put this team in a position to win, because he's not giving them the chance to control the game the way they want to. Now, we have been in control of games. We have definitely been, I think, the team more likely to score in the last 2 games anyway. I think, Portugal obviously had the one that came off the post, which was scary. We'll talk about that. But over the full 90 minutes, the U.S. definitely put themselves in the best position to score. But that was what made the last 10 minutes, the final really 20 minutes, so concerning. My friend Brett, who I'm traveling with multiple times throughout stoppage time, just said, oh my gosh, we're going to give up a goal here and be eliminated, because we were, unfortunately at that point in time, so just erratic with how we were defending. And it was like Vlatko told them, hey, just go do shit and defend. And unfortunately, that allowed Portugal to very easily capitalize on all of our bad defensive choices, all of our bad possession choices, too. And, really, the problem with this team is that no one fully knows what the other person is doing. And so they're working so hard, but not working with a partner or working with a trio or working with a unit. And that's what's really sad to see, that we're, 4 years into the Vlatko, well, 3 years really into the Vlatko era. He's had this entire cycle, and this team is still so disjointed and tactically naive, tactically, I don't know, I don't want to say ignorant, but it seems like that a lot of times. So we don't win the group. That has affected my plans personally, because I had planned for us to be here in Sydney for the round of 16 match. We're not. The Netherlands is here. I'll be attending that match regardless, and then going back to the fan festival to watch the USA's game later that evening. But, it should have been the US playing at, a good local kickoff time for US fans. But that's not happening because we did not take care of our own business in the group. And really, it was as simple as we could have beat Netherlands. Or, I know that Netherlands scored 5 goals against Vietnam. That was, I don't want to say unexpected, but I didn't really see Netherlands scoring 5. That's for sure. But that's just kind of endemic of what's happened this entire tournament, where we didn't take care of the chances we created against Vietnam. So now we're kind of not at the goal difference we would have liked to have been. We draw Netherlands, even though we probably could have beaten them, probably should have beaten them. And then you go to Portugal, and you're faced with an uphill climb because Netherlands is going to score a couple at least against Vietnam. So you're going to have to score 2 goals or more. I think I said that in the last episode that the goal is to win by 2-0 or more. Had you gone out and beat Portugal 2-0, yet Netherlands beat Vietnam 5-0 and won the group, I think people would feel a little bit better. Still, obviously, alarm bells should have been ringing because this team is not playing well. But this team also could have beat Portugal 2-0 that night. Despite how bad we played, we put ourselves in positions to score. But again, we're just not, because we're not putting ourselves in the best positions to score. And then we do get in even good positions, we're not taking advantage of those opportunities. And I think it comes back to the tactical stupidity, to be quite honest, that Vlatko has. Is that he just hasn't given this team the tactical instruction so that their brains don't have to continually be on and thinking and looking and processing. There's no automatic movements or ingrained passing sequences on this team at all. And we're seeing how that's affecting them in front of goal when they're unsure. Should they shoot? Should we pass? Do I have a person to pass to? Do I have a cross? Should I just hit it from here? And all these decisions are going off in their head, and they're unable to be their best selves because they're so worried about what their next move is. But the next move right now is a match against Sweden in the round of 16. Our old foe, we've played them. I think this will be our 6th time playing them in the World Cup. They have beaten us once. That was in 2011, which is the last time that I can remember watching the U.S. play so poorly in a group stage, which, to be honest, is why the Carly Lloyd comments are so annoying, because she was a part of that 2011 team that was quite honestly bad in the group stage, and did end up losing a game in the group stage. They lost to Sweden in the group. Also, that 2011 team, people forget, didn't qualify directly for the World Cup. They had to go through a interconfederational playoff against Italy and only won both games 1-0. This team feels a lot like that, where it's just not firing in all cylinders, not getting the most out of its talent, and choosing players to play over better talented players just because of, I don't know, experience and reliability. And that's really sad that we're doing it again. Um, However, that 2011 team still made the final. I don't think that we have the talent advantage that we had back then to just make the final this year, but Sweden is a tough opponent. I've said this a couple times here with my friends. I think we can beat Sweden, but Sweden's very good. If we lose to Sweden, it will not be a shock. The shock will be going out in the round of 16, but the shock should not be that Sweden beat us. They've been very good. They're back-to-back silver medalists. They've been one of the top teams in the women's game, probably the best women's program to have never won a World Cup or a gold medal. And they have a real opportunity to eliminate the U.S., the four-time champ. This side of the bracket that we're on now, I said at the beginning it was going to be easy because it should have been. But now, when you compare it to the other side of the bracket, where Germany is gone, Canada's gone, Brazil is gone, this side, the U.S.'s side, is incredibly difficult. You have the U.S., Norway, and Japan, three former champions. Three of the four countries that have won the World Cup are on this side. Then you have Netherlands, a runner-up. You have Sweden, a runner-up. And then you have, that's 5 of the 8 on this side that have made a World Cup final. That's really hard. And on the other side, all you have is England, who made a semifinal once, France, who's been a quarterfinalist and a semifinalist. Like, this side of the bracket the U.S. is on, whoever advances will have beaten very good teams. Will it be the U.S.? I don't think so anymore. I was a little more confident than I probably should have been coming into this, but I'd really like the way that Japan has looked. And if Sweden beats us, I think they become the clear favorite. But if the U.S. can get past Sweden, I think they'll feel a lot more confident in themselves, as they should. And maybe it comes down to getting an early goal because one of your attacking phases finally does end with a goal. Or maybe it comes down to finally getting a little bit of luck where a Sweden player messes up and we're able to actually capitalize, or possibly we get a penalty kick and we convert it. So I think we're going to need some luck to beat Sweden, which again is sad to say for this U.S. women's national team. But I think they can make their own luck and put themselves in positions to capitalize on a mess up by Sweden. So hopefully we can get that. I think the key is get a goal in the first half, hopefully in the first 20 minutes. And again, rely on your stout defense that has been very good all tournament. And hopefully that can get you through this knockout round. But Sweden's tough. I'm not super confident we're going to beat them, to be quite honest, but we have the tools to do it. And I think if we have things go our way, I would make some lineup changes personally. I would move Julia Ertz into the midfield. Obviously, Rose Lavelle will not be available. She is on yellow card suspension because she got 2 yellow cards in the group stage, so she is suspended for this round of 16 match. I would probably play Ertz in the midfield and put DeMello and Horan in front of her. If you're dead set on Sullivan, I would put maybe Mewis or someone who can play a little bit deeper next to Sullivan in there and let Horan be the 10. But I don't think you can play against Sweden with Sullivan as your lone defensive midfielder. You either have to put someone next to her or you have to just play Julie Ertz in the defensive midfield spot because Sullivan has been a problem all tournament. She hasn't been good enough. She's not been bad, overall. I think she has been, not up to par, but she's just not what this team needs to win a World Cup. And it's just evident more and more. So you got to take her out. I'm sorry, you just have to. I would also consider taking Alex Morgan out of the lineup, maybe starting Sophia Smith at the striker position, that central forward position. I don't think Vlatko will do either one of those, and that's the sad part, is that he looks like a guy unwilling to change. And unfortunately, that stubbornness will probably be the reason why this U.S. team doesn't win this World Cup. So thanks, Vlatko, for frustrating all of U.S. women's national teams fans everywhere. thanks for making the U.S. games the least enjoyable part of this World Cup trip for me. This will not be a tournament that people can look back on Vlatko's coaching and think highly of him, which is disappointing because this group of players is talented enough to win a World Cup. They're just not set up to do so. All right, thanks for listening to my rambling. I really appreciate you all. Don't forget you can support the show at buymeacoffee.com/SoccerForUsPod. You can follow me on Twitter at SoccerForUsPod. And don't forget to subscribe to Soccer Down Here on whatever podcatcher you are listening to get all of the daily content from the STH network. Thanks again for listening. I'm Bart. I'm out.